Hello everyone, welcome to a bit of a different Tech Talk. We're freshening things up, hence why there's only four of us in front of you today. But let's head to Mikey for Mikey's intro.
So today we've got Lee from Complete Concrete Polishing joining us today as a bit of a customer spotlight. I think with this one we've got Liam because you're fairly new to this part of the industry, Lee, and we thought we'd get you in and see how you're finding things and how you made your way into this type of industry and where you've come from, and just a bit of a customer spotlight, I think, really.
Yeah, very new to it. My background is in concreting, doing house slabs, from working from a labourer through to running crews and that sort of thing. And wasn't too, like, I've always loved the aesthetic of polished concrete, never given it a second thought. We did a couple of jobs where the guys were polishing. Up until probably last year, we did one that was for a friend of mine where we poured the slab and a guy was coming polishing, and I thought work sort of slowed down a little bit mid-year last year with interest rates and all that with the slabs, and I thought, well, here's an opportunity to look into it. So hence at the time I was racing cars to fill a gap basically, and I love doing it, but there's no money in it. There's a lot of pouring money out, but so sitting out the back there is was a race car, now is morphed into a 690 RC. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a different in speed, but one makes money, one costs you money.
Very good.
I was just going to say, can we just talk about the car instead?
Yeah.
We just talk about racing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, to bring it back to concrete polishing, Lee, you attended one of our seminars as well. So why don't you tell us a bit about your experience there and what sort of brought you to us?
Before I bought the machine, I'd actually looked around. First things first, I didn't know anyone held seminars. So the first thing I did was, I won't mention any names, I rang one of the big concrete polishing companies and I was polite and said, look, this is my intention. I would really like to get into it. I'm green. I have no idea. I just want to learn. I don't want to be paid or anything. Is it possible I could get an address where I could just watch and observe your installers or polishers do their thing? Before I could even get a response, I hung up on them. So I must have had a bad line. So I rang back and they basically told me where to go and what to use. So
Go to Works Plus?
No, it wasn't Works Plus. So I thought that's a bit rich. Anyway, I rang another one and it was a little bit more polite, but it was the same direction. I thought, this is going to be an issue. I'll look around, and I did ring Works Plus, and the girl on that answered the phone was fantastic. Couldn't have helped me more. And then she said, well, I was ringing for someone there to give me a few pointers, but she said, we actually hold a seminar. And I said, well, that's perfect. That's what I need. So the one, I think it was, would have been in October or November or something. I can't remember the date, but it was, the seminar was on. I was leaving to Bali 2 days prior, so I missed that one. But before I left, I said, can I go on an automatic call or whatever to get told about the next one that's available, which that happened. And I learned heaps. In the meantime, I purchased the machine, and when I purchased the 690, Varna were doing one as well. So I did that one, and the difference in them were similar but different, if you know what I mean. Like there was just the different aspects of them. One was just full mechanical polish and nothing else, and one was challenges, the whole broad spectrum of polishing concrete and floor preparation. It was great. I've actually ran into one of the guys that was at the same seminar as the Works Plus one. I ran into him at an epoxy supplier. It was having dramas in a job in Toorak at the time, and we were trying to work out where to go, but it just ended up being a really difficult client.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I learned a heap, because otherwise I would have just gone out. My theory on using or doing flooring was far from what I learned at the seminars, that's for sure. And big machine, big heavy machine. I've worked out how to get them unbogged on site. I've had the handles turn right when I'm standing left and see how far it can push me. I've had all kinds of challenges. So my biggest thing to people getting into it is it's not as cut and dry as what you see on Instagram and all that. There is a lot of different things that you need to be watching when you're doing floors. To go out and just start grinding floors is just not the answer. A lot of things before you've even started grinding. My thing was I had the new van, the new machine, all of the good stuff come down to, shit, how am I going to get the thing in the van? It was random. Thing I'd never even thought about. So there's a lot to think about. It's a costly exercise, but it's also rewarding when you can look back. And that was why I got into it. I love the aesthetic of it. I think it looks great. And, work's starting to come in. And I haven't even done any advertising yet. So just from a few jobs we've done, been great and challenging at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny the amount of people over the few years I've been here that have done the seminar, and they still keep in touch with each other. So it's definitely a good bit of a networking tool as well, for sure. Just to have someone else to bounce some ideas off and trials and tribulations. And it's always good to have someone else that you can pick up the phone and give a call. I mean, obviously you can call us and that
Absolutely.
sort of thing, but it certainly doesn't hurt. And we've got another one coming up in March, 12th and 13th. Bit of a shameless plug there. No, it's great, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It's the tool selection too. The tool selection was something that I'd never really given much thought about, which was a real challenge at the start. And Brandon will attest to this. I'm reading him up. What are those rail things that are, that have got all the things around the outside that have got little holes, and he reels off things, and just getting the vocabulary around it. Like what's what does what's the best solution for this? If this is doing this, what do I need to do? And if Brandon doesn't know, he gets on to either you, Josh, or whether it be Tim, and you get back to me straight away while you're on site. Try it, it works. It did the job. Or, no, that didn't work. Have you got another solution? It's been great. It's been really good. So it's not just the seminar, it's the seminar follows you because you've got all that information.
So what's a bit of a standout tool or chemical or product that you sort of think straight away, oh, that one, when I used that was really good? What's a standout for you?
Easy one, the GRT.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one I spoke to Milan at the seminar when they used it, and I thought, well, wait a second, this is skipping a few steps on what I'm used to and what I've been shown. And I just found it worked really, really well. There's a few for different applications, but yeah, that one's a standout, something different.
Lee, I've got a couple of questions for you. You may not know this, or you may be learning it now. The biggest, I wouldn't say the biggest enemy, but I don't really know any concrete grinders in this industry that like the work that concreters do.
I was about to bring the point up to you. Yeah.
First of all, I guess, how do you live with yourself now that you're a polisher?
When I walked into the seminar, I'd met everyone, and I thought, there's some nice guys here. After the first day, and they realised I was a concrete, I was wondering why I was having lunch on my own. I didn't realise how much the guys because I have touched base with a few guys that have got a lot of experience that say, if you ever need a hand, give us a call. That's how much they hate concrete, because the challenges that they encounter. Only had the conversation yesterday. Now, when we did the one for a friend of mine, I rang the polisher and I said, what do you need? Do you want it burnt finish? Do you want it wiped out? Do you want it troweled? How do you want it? And he went, who's this? I said, concrete. We're doing the guy's house, and said, can you just do it neat, level? He rang me about 2 or 3 days after he'd done the 30 and 50. He said, gee, it makes life easy when the slab's done properly. Like when it's done, knowing that it's going to be, it's not an afterthought, tiles pulled up, then done. Then we had another one for our regular builders, who I went in there and said, why don't you, next display, why don't we polish the floor? What's the worst can happen? If it's shit, let's tile it. What have you lost? I've lost money and time. See how it comes up, and then if it's no good, tile it. Floor it, do whatever you have to do, but why don't you try it? No, we don't do that. It kills the time frame too much. So what they had a client that wouldn't take no for an answer. He said, I'm getting it polished. I rang them, and she didn't know what to say. She said, we've been in operation for 12 years. She said, I've never had a concreter ring us. And I said, yeah, but I've just gone into that field and I know how important it is, because if the floor's knackered, then you're wasting your time polishing it, because it's probably going to be an issue for the polisher. Hence why I went and did a course in epoxy, and if it wasn't for Jay at the Works Plus, I had no intention of doing epoxy flooring, none whatsoever. But he said, mate, you need to have that as a backup, because you might walk into a $25,000 job, and it's so far out of level. You go, well, I'm out of here. Gee, I've got to chase another job somewhere. But then you can offer up, hey, what about this? Now that doesn't give the concreters a green light to go, oh well, they'll just epoxy it if they have to.
I thought we were learning a bit about Jay's history. He doesn't do a good job of grinding and polishing it. He just put the epoxy down. Is that what's going on, Jay?
No, but it's you hit the nail on the head. I don't know why there's not more standing up for the concreters. If the concreters don't know, they don't know. What we do, the process we did on the house in Berwick here, we didn't do the same process as what we do day to day. We had screed lines put in and we ran through, we had guys poking the surface with the Makita concrete vibrators, just the battery operated ones, to disperse the stone a lot in the surface. Then it's screed over. But it really come up really, really good. Really, really even and nice. Just the stone was dispersed nicely. He said it just made life so much easier. There's no bump. The machine's not rocking all over the place. It was just a really easy cut. So it makes a big difference, and I'm learning that now with some of the jobs I've done. As Brandon will tell you, the first full mechanical I got, I could write a book on it. Honestly, could write a book on it. I had one of the installers come and go, you've had more challenges here than I reckon I've had in 10 years, all combined into this one job. He goes, and I'm not even joking. I had the first part of the house was like a speckled granite. And I just couldn't get through it. And then worked it all out, cooled it down. It was heating the bloke, got down past the kitchen, went back to bluestone. But it wasn't neat. They'd poured around the step down in the granite, then in the entry was bluestone, all through the living areas bluestone. It was all over the place. Now, I was one out and I was hooked by this stage, and I thought, beauty, he's going to pull the pin on this. This looks horrible. He loved it. He loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I had to keep going. Under a linen press, inside a linen press, underneath the bottom shelf. Finally got that ground by hand. You come, I don't know why you're doing that for, mate. That's all going to be poured out as a walk-in ensuite. It was marked on your plan. It's there now. It's going to get tiled over. Those sort of challenges. Guys spraying the roof, brand new Monument roof, overspraying onto a brand new generator. I love the colour Monument, but not on my new generator. The only room that had a clear run where I could just do nice, even cuts. Third day in. So probably I'd done 30 and all the edges of the whole house. And come in the next day and a wall mysteriously appeared in the middle of the room. Fantastic looking wall, but another 25, 30 of handwork. And the room that it blocked off, when you got a 690, quite tight to get in and out and do neatly. It was just a challenge, a real challenge. And I don't know if Brandon's told you, and it's a little bit of a morbid story. So we were there, I was there on my own for about 9-10 days. And the guy, the day of invoice, and I took the cleaner, went there and sent a message saying, hey, I'm finished, hope you love it. It come up reasonably good. He was happy with it. I probably wasn't, being my first job, a few little things that I learned a lot from, and unfortunately had committed suicide that night. So there was, it's not the invoice. It wasn't the invoice after that. The next 2-3 jobs, I refer back to that job. So I learnt so much from that job. The money, if it was just my sole business, would have probably bankrupted me. But I look back now and go, gee, I learned a lot from that job. Bugger the money. The money's not the issue. I've still got the invoice sitting on my desk here. I just learnt so much from it. The challenges are there. And they're real. It's
funny when you, something that I hear a lot of customers say with that there's still aspects when they walk away from the job that they weren't happy with a few little things. But then they generally, bit of perfectionism type sort of thing. But they generally follow up with, but they loved it. And
I do it every job I do, whether it's a pavilion job or like just a straight grind and seal. And the clients love it. They just think it's fantastic. And I see a tiny little bit of grout that's still sitting there, and you get the twitch and don't look at it, and you keep looking at it, or a little bit that's high near a post that hasn't quite got. I think that's just in me. I think I'm never going to get rid of that. But at the end of the day, the person's paying loves it. You've got to be happy, I suppose. You just got to let it go.
Yeah, that's it.
Perfection.
as you said, it's definitely one of those ones for the history books, and that you've learned a lot from. And it's great to see how far you've grown from just that job already, mate, and seeing what you're producing. It's really good to see. So
well, even
awesome work.
Even the first job I did, I had to ring Husqvarna to go, how do you turn this thing on? No, honestly, I had no idea, because from when I bought it to when I actually got my first job, this is all too hard, like, how do I turn this beginning on? So it's just baby steps now. Like, I'm not going in trying to quote shopping centres and airports and stuff like that. I've knocked back more than I've done.
Yeah.
I've knocked back from jobs that are way beyond what I know I'm capable of. And I've also knocked back probably 2 or 3 good paying, easy jobs. The reason I've knocked them back is the client doesn't know what they want. And I keep saying there's so many steps and so many different variables of grinding, sealing, the full mechanical, and everything in between. What do you want? This is just too hard. Why can't you just tell me what you can do? Well, I can do anything in between, but because there's a time and a process in it, and there's also a cost involved in it that varies.
Mm-hmm.
This is just too hard. So, well, maybe, you might want to get someone else. And I don't. Easy job, local. But if I go in there and do what I like, they might not like it and go, well, I don't like this. I've just wasted 3 or 4 days there. So there's been a few of them where the luxury of having a secondary business as a backstop that I don't need to do them just to force I need dollars to come in the door is actually handy. And the whole long term, because of this hate of concreters, and you smile, Josh, I know you don't like them.
I have no problem with concreters. It's the work they do.
It's that long term where you can go in and offer the both service. So the left and the right are both trying to achieve the same. Whether that goes anywhere or not, that's the options there for people to do it. The hard thing, as I said at the start, is no one wants to give you the time or the room to do it. And that's what I find frustrating. At the house we did, just people everywhere, timbers on the floor. You put down your grout, and the guy starts walking through with his timbers to do the room down the back, and it's got his little trolley with all these tools on it. And then, you just think, can you not see this thing? Look, you got a 690 with the vac separator. You got hand tools all over the floor. Can you not see it? And it's that sort of stuff that's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I'm tipping everyone out there listening to this in this industry just goes, I feel the same thing. And they're probably on a job now dealing with it. That's probably the only frustration. The rest of it is good. And the good thing is the relationships and the willingness to help is been great.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been good.
I don't know, all this talk about slabs. I knew it is that time of week.
I think it is that time. Well, Lee, what say we go grab a cold one? Thank you for joining us, mate. It's been awesome to see you develop and see the business grow. It's been an absolute pleasure of mine to be able to come and see you each week and hang out and talk some trash and see what's been going on. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having
me. Good on you, Lee.
Thanks,
guys.
You might still be able to fit in a game of golf.
Let's try.
We'll see you at the 19th.
Yeah, golf and a couple of cold ones.
Yeah,
all right, fellas.
Beautiful.
Have a good weekend.
Great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
All right.
See ya.
The meeting warning. That's the lie. That's all the credit. That's all the credit we have left.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I have to put more money into this thing.